Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Drop me a comment. You gotta click that bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live on the YouTubes. Going with the Lime Bubbly today. Black oil. Tau is absolutely crushing it. Definitely agree with you there. Havid, welcome in. Guys, make sure to drop your tokens that you'd like me to take a look at today, or really anything you'd like me to chart. Happy to chart anything and everything. That's what Tuesdays and Thursdays are all about. So anything that's moving or dead that you want me to take a look at, feel free. And or the other thing is, if you have some general TA questions, I mean, you don't even. It doesn't have to be specific to an actual chart. It could just be some general TA questions that you have. Feel free to drop those. Ross, happy Tuesday indeed. We all should be thankful for each and every day that we have. Can you chart Shido? Were you in here the other day asking about that? I promised to chart that as the first chart, so I'm going to stick to that. I certainly can. Juan, good to see you in here. Guys, just a quick update, couple things I'll quickly cover here. Real quick, after this live stream, actually, I'm going to make dinner. Actually, I'm making a very exciting dinner. I've had some pretty bland dinners lately, especially with everything with my health. I've been super conservative about how I've been eating, but I am very excited this evening. I'm making some pasta, and it's chickpea pasta. I'm going to throw some sun-dried tomatoes in there, some asparagus, and then I made some fresh chicken meatballs. Okay, I prepped all this before the live stream. Some chicken, let me give you the recipe real quick before we start talking about charts. All right, before we start talking about charts, let me tell you about my chicken meatball recipe that I threw together in 5 seconds. So it's extra lean ground chicken. Threw in some egg whites. Threw in some coconut flour. Threw in another mixed flour, okay? Threw in some garlic, some truffle Parmesan seasoning, some spicy Italian seasoning, some thyme. Mixed that all together, and that motherfucker's looking good. So I'm going to make some turkey meatballs, going to throw that in the pasta, and then I'm just going to have a side salad as well. So very, very excited about dinner. You can tell I love cooking, so... what I was going to say is that's what I'll be doing after the live stream, but immediately when I'm done cooking and eating and all of that, I'm going to be recording the Caspa video. So one of the things I had tweeted out for any Caspians here, price action has been very boring, and I'll kind of get into it. I don't want to steal away from the video, but just look for that to go live at some point by tomorrow. But going to produce that and either finish up the editing tonight or, first thing tomorrow morning at, 5 a.m. So be on the lookout for that. We're not going to talk about Caspa today. Did want to get into a couple very quick charts. Actually, just 2 quick charts. And then I'm going in straight into questions. So first off, nothing really has changed on the Bitcoin charts. One of the things I'm trying to convey in this descending gray line, even though we broke here, is ever since this top back here, right? Ever since this top in the RSI at 92. Now, this is on the 12-hour chart that we routinely look at. The RSI was at 93. Bitcoin had topped at 35.2. Ever since we've had those moves up, okay, in price, we've had this negative divergence in the RSI. So one of the things I personally am going to be looking for, and I'll keep you well informed on, thumbs up, by the way, if you haven't, guys, appreciate it. One of the things I will keep you very informed on is once we begin to negate that negative divergence. It's one of the most common things you want to look for on any chart. If you see negative divergences in the RSI popping up, to evaluate the strength of the move, an impulsive move that's coming into the market, or some sort of move to the upside, one of the things that can lead you with a higher level of conviction that we're going to continue to see moves up in the market is to negate any negative divergences RSI. Now, one of the other things really quick to pay attention to on this chart is that it seems like there's a region here, right? I could show descending resistance, but there's clearly a region, let me point this out, that we're having temporary struggles getting above. This region right in here, right? So that's roughly between 43.1 and 43.9, right? So we're really having a difficult time at the moment pushing above the $43,000 area into the $44,000 area. Again, this is short-term price action. Just trying to paint an accurate depiction of what's going on in the short term. Nothing has changed in the big picture. The weekly is still looking fantastic. We're still well above the 50 simple moving average on the 12-hour. That's going to keep this 50 above the 200. All things I've spoken about in the past. Now, real quick before I get to your questions, I had tweeted out earlier today, I scooped up 4 Monero today, just over 4 Monero, at a price of 102 on Kraken. Now, if you were to look at this chart and you were to say, well, this is a monthly view on XMR, you were to say, well, you do potentially have some sort of a descending triangle here, right? Depends what time frame you look at it. Maybe we could look at a 2-month chart. Basically, where I'm going with this is there is a case to be made that we could have a bearish pattern in play for sure, right? If you said to me this is a potential descending triangle, we could make a measured move down. This thing could be headed towards $30 or lower. There's a valid case to be made there. So why did I choose, if there's a valid, again, my bread and butter is technical analysis. So why, if there's a potential negative charting pattern showing up in this chart, why would I choose to pull the trigger and purchase some Monero when it was 39% down today? Why would I choose to do that and go against my technical, not intuition, but logical technical side? I guess a couple reasons for that. First off, in general, my sense, based on the news and based on the chart is still extremely strong. It's a very strong chart. Feels like a shakeout event. Nothing fundamentally has changed with the project. It's just getting delisted from Binance. But there's a bigger reason. Even if I'm incorrect, or even if the charting pattern plays out, this thing plummets to $30 or $40, whatever the technical target is, I'm not even interested in looking at it. Why am I purchasing Monero? Why? Because Monero is a true privacy coin. I think it's quite possible that the government could try to outlaw it to some degree. There are certain crypto projects, I think the government, the more the years go on, they're going to make it illegal to hold potentially. Regardless, I view Monero, ticker symbol XMR, as a very a specialized area within my investment portfolio. I view it as a what-if scenario. And I'm not a doomsdayer, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but given the fundamentals of the project and being a true privacy token, I want to own some of that, self-custody it, just in case, because my perspective is now I hold a digital asset that is truly about as safe as you can get from, being out of the government's eyes. And obviously this is something like any crypto token that is universally transactable. I could go anywhere and transact with it. But I like the idea of just holding on to some Monero. I don't own too much Monero, but I like the idea of just having a little bag. It's just a what-if scenario. What if, I don't know, some rough things go on in the world and the world around us. It's like the example that's given with, which is something I increasingly need to look into. I was just listening to a podcast today, holding on to physical gold and physical silver, like literally physical gold and physical silver. I think that's something I need to have more exposure to, because it's just a what if scenario. What if something happens where you don't have access to fiat dollars or becomes completely devalued? Things are going amok in the United States. Look, we didn't think we would have lockdowns, right? All that beer virus disaster that took place, people really thought that scenario could not happen, right? So for me, it's just a what-if scenario. If I needed to transact with Monero, I've got some. So that's really, I saw this thing down 40% today, pulled the trigger at 102. I was trying to pull the trigger at 101, but I had to get my funds deposited. Picked a few up. So it's more of just a long-term bet, a long-term hedge. It's a long-term hedge. That's the way to look at it. I'm not selling it. That Monero could triple top up at the $500 range a year from now. I'm not going to be selling my Monero. It's one of the few assets I own in crypto that I wouldn't consider selling, because again, it's a hedge against a lot of disasters taking place in the world. So I want to have different pockets of wealth to put me in a position of power. I want to strategize my financial assets to put myself in a position of power in the event that there is some massive default on the dollar or whatever the case is. I want to have different assets that I can go to transact with. So that is why I pulled the trigger today. Ross, I've been in Shido since the beginning. Love the utility tokenomics. The team is doxed and transparent. I'm going to get into the TA questions now, guys. Plus, only one exchange so far. Mainnet goes live this month, all coins in circulation. So you definitely, it seems like you have a really good understanding of the fundamentals and are familiar with the project. I know nothing about it, but we'll take a look at the chart. Greg coming in with the super chat. Black Oil, I appreciate you as always, my friend. Really, really do appreciate it a lot. Hey, CBG, can you check out Cubic, Quant, and all right, I see you're hitting me up with the super chat with 20 TA questions. Now, you only got 3 questions. Of course, we can take a look at the 3. I did promise Ross that we get to his question first, so we'll get to his, and then I'll go right to yours. Track, always good to see you, my friend. What's up, baby cakes? Jorge's in the house. Kyle, good to see you. SHX, we'll get to. Swap gold with the XRP ledger. Swap gold with the XRP ledger. We'll go to the moon. We go to the moon. Okay. Link, KR. We'll get the link right after Greg. All right. Let me get to Ross real quick here, who has a question. And this question is actually left over from yesterday. So thank you for Ross for coming back to the live stream. And so that we could check this out. All right. Shido. I don't know why this made me think of this, but Shido. Did you guys ever read the book Shiloh? Shiloh was a book. It's like a kid's book. I remember reading it as a teenager, but it was about a dog that was abused, and it was a really good. Judd. You still remember things as a kid. Judd was the guy who abused the dog. It's actually, from what I remember as a teenager, it was a very good book, but. I always had a soft spot for dogs growing up. I love dogs. It really makes me wonder why the hell I don't have a dog. There's always some excuse why I don't have a dog. Generally, it's been female related. Not to put the onus on the females that I've been with, but generally it's been female related. But let's move on. This is a 3-day chart. Not a lot of price data here. Ross, not a lot of price data. So it's a little harder for me to discern something more credible just because the price data is so limited. So one of the things I want you guys to keep in mind is I'm charting things out for you and trying to be as helpful as I can with what I'm seeing in the price. The more limited the price data, this is just a general concept, the more limited the price data, the less confident we can make regarding inferences on areas of price confluence in the direction of price. And it's also quite often why I will go to a much lower time frame. In this case, let me see what the 12-hour chart looks like. In this case, I'm going to go to a 12-hour time frame. Okay, so on the, let me see the price indicators. MACD has crossed down negative, but what I like to see is we're beginning to flatten out now. We're beginning to see some of the weakness. that was in the price begin to level out. You can see that in the MACD, but you can also see that in the price. We're essentially consolidating between 0.9 cents and 0.8 cents. Okay, the RSI, is there any bullish divergence? Not really, but the RSI has leveled out. I like to see, I think, yes, I like to see that also the stochastic RSI is above that 20 trigger line. So one of the observations the way I would paint this very simplistically is, remember, everything is a graphical, it's a work of art, right? And you need someone to interpret the work of art. So what's happening here is price has leveled out in this zone. Now, as price has begun to level out in this zone, the MACD has flattened out, the RSI has stabilized, and the stochastic RSI has crossed right back above this area, this 20 trigger line. So I see a lot of price stabilization taking place, which I really like to see on this 12-hour time frame. Now, in terms of areas of support that we would like to see hold, and especially, I don't know the market cap on this. I'm not going to waste time looking, but in general, the lower the market cap, the more volatility you'll get to the downside. So what I like to do is I like to create a zone. So I'd put a zone right about there between, looks like, we're going to make this 0.8 cents. We like to keep things stupid simple. And then down here, it looks like we got 0.74, right? So there is this region of support between 0.8 cents and 0.74 on ticker symbol SHIDO. Okay, now if we lose the 0.74, the next region of support I would look for would be 0.65 and below. But this is the main region that we want to see hold. Obviously, there's some descending resistance here I'm not going to draw out. But what I do want to show is a region of resistance that'll be very important for us to break above. So I would actually put it, that's perfect. I will say this, in evaluating this chart, I really like the market symmetry here. I really like, it's very easy for me to come in here and start drawing areas of support and resistance for you guys. Okay, this is your first region of resistance here. It looks like it's between 0.92 cents and 0.96 cents. Once we get above 0.96 cents, it looks like about a penny, which isn't surprising. That's a psychological area. And then we can continue going up here. I mean, quite obviously, you could put a lot of areas of resistance, but these are your major areas. So after a penny, you're going to get into 1.2 cents and then 1.3 cents, right? So for me, in evaluating this chart, the takeaway is price has stabilized. Let's not lose this region. We do a little bouncing in here. Once we break this region and we're above a penny, that's a big deal. Because now we've negated all this negative price action and consolidation. Then we got 1.2 and 1.3. Once we break 1.3 cents, blue sky breakout. So it's anyone's educated guess where we could go. But really nice looking chart. I really like this. I don't know anything about the project, but the technicals look really good. I like it. Let me get to Link. I haven't charted Link in a long time. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. I said I'd get to Greg. Apologies. Quant. Let me look at Quant first. I haven't charted Quant in a while. Let's see what we got. Now, I do know, Greg, and you may have actually asked about this. We just charted Quant very recently, and we talked about the breakdown, the break back up. Is there anything really that has changed? We've had a negative cross down in the MACD. It doesn't look horrendous, though. RSI, that can't be right. Are you serious? That can't be right. I'm not reading this correctly. The RSI is at 1? Oh, no, wait. This is the... Wow. Guys, this has been a long day. This stochastic RSI is at 1. I was like, I've never seen an RSI reading at 1. Okay. The RSI is at 47. Okay. And the stochastic is all the way down here. So stochastic, we need to get above the 20 trigger line, Greg. Okay. Need to get above this 20 trigger line for momentum to begin to pick up. RSI is trying to stabilize. I mean, there's really nothing. Trying to look for something that sticks out to me, going down to the lower time frames to see if anything really sticks out. I'm not seeing anything, my friend. I mean, here's what I would say to you, Greg. Price is trying to stabilize in this area, right in here. Okay? We're actually trying to form a higher low, believe it or not. So, it looks like what we're trying to do is we're trying to maintain this rough area right here as support. Now, what that would do, it would be nice if we could hold $100. This is essentially $100 psychological area. What would be nice about that is what that tells me is we have a low, a higher high, higher low, and now this is like a mini higher high and higher low, right? These are two higher lows. So if this higher low here stays intact, we got to take out 153, and then it's a matter of taking out 228. But there's really nothing else to tell you about there, Greg. Cubic, I feel like we took a look at that one as well. Maybe not. Let me see. Name sounds familiar. Nah, I don't think we did. I think you actually mentioned this the other day. That's why. DeFi Llama. How the hell am I charting this, Greg? Oh, Lord. Greg, this is poopy. There's no volume. Greg, don't give me a poopy chart. You gave me a super chat, too. This is a poopy chart, Greg. Poopy chart. I'm putting this on the weekly because there's not a lot of volume here. Clearly, you can trade this on a DEX, but it doesn't look like this is even on a centralized exchange. So when this token offering came into place, you can see the waterfall that took place. This is what Flare looked like prior to its breakout. On the weekly, yeah, the indicators are shit. Greg, this is a rough one, man. So the one thing I would point out to you, you essentially have, I mean, you got a pole and a pennant, and then you had another breakout. Now you got another pennant. We could have another break to the upside. This is like, I'd throw like $50 in this thing, but I wouldn't, touch this with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, the only positive thing I would say about this is you have like some sort of a pennant playing out here, right? You can draw the pennant, right? And here's your pole to the upside, okay? So you could have a measurable target back to the upside. But Greg, this chart is shit. I'm going to be honest with you. This might be the worst chart you've ever given me. Not a lot to say there, my friend. Hopefully this next one is much better. AGRS. Greg, hit me up with something good here, man. Please hit me up with something good. Don't give me these low market cap DEX only plays that you can't chart. This is on Bittrex, and that's not going to be good. That exchange won. Bye-bye. Greg, man, I feel like you should be... Okay, this is on Bybit. All right, nice. All right, so this is ticker symbol A... What the hell was this? AGR... Oh, no, wait. I don't have the right one. No, this isn't it. AGRS. Why didn't it... By the way, fun fact, CBG decided in his endeavor to get dinner started before the live stream to not use the restroom. So now my bladder feels extremely full. I really need to use the restroom. So we'll see if I can make it through the live stream without urinating. AGRS. All right, looks like this is the best we're going to be able to do. So, not great price data, Greg. Man, Black Oil, you're hitting me up with some poopy charts today, man. I want to help you out, too, because you super chatted. But, I mean, you're not giving me a lot to work with here. So, I mean, I can chart it for you. I just don't think it's super helpful, to be honest. The data's way too immature. The volume's too low. This thing isn't on looks like it's on one exchange. But we have descending resistance here. I mean, first off, what I see is not a lot of price data, but we're sort of in this, we're coiling up here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if we break to the upside or downside. Now, where are there areas of support? This is on the daily, by the way. Areas of support. There's an area right there of around 3.14 I want to see hold. I'll give you a wide region, actually, Greg, because this is a very volatile asset. So ultimately, this region between $3 and $3.20 is what I want to see hold. I don't really want to start breaking down below $3. We start increasing the likelihood we could have a break to the downside. Now, in terms of areas of, if you wanted to be more aggressive with a buy order, you could come in at 340 or use this upwards ascending line here. But anything in this area, I really want to see that 340 to $3 hold. Areas of resistance, pretty clear-cut area right around there at 430. Another area at around $4, psychological area at $4. I like this area at 450. I mean, there's a lot of areas, 520, and then finally I'm just going to put it in the high here at $6. Okay. Now, in terms of price indicators, let's go down to a 6-hour. Do I see anything? Now, one of the interesting things I would point out here, when you go to a lower time frame, because there's not a lot of price data, you can much more so see the current uptrend that is taking place, right? You can see this general uptrend that's taking place. So that's either going to continue and we're going to see a push to the upside, or we're going to get pinched and come back down to the downside. And that's where it's helpful to know these areas of support between $3.40 and $3. So if I was looking to get an entry here, I'd be patient, which is something this community, not this specific community, but the crypto community does not know. And then I would base my buy limit orders based on my risk tolerance level between $3.40 and $3 roughly. But that is what I see, Gregory. Does anyone call you Gregory? That's very formal. Now the next question, and by the way, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Now the next question that came in was for Chainlink, and I think I'm going to have to use the restroom and then come back really quick. No, I'm a big boy. I think I can hold it. Of course, we had this huge bullish divergence on the relative strength index on the weekly. Chainlink has been one of these early strong movers within the market. Not surprising. I think people based on current, let's see where we're sitting right now. I think people, because of the current move, are thinking that Chainlink is going to all of a sudden break into the top 10. Now, if it breaks into the top 10, I think it's barely going to get into the top 10 at number 10. And it's not going to stay there for very long. I don't think at the end of this, I personally don't think by the time Bitcoin pops, you're going to see Chainlink within the top 10. Although I could be dead wrong. It has a lot of strong fundamentals associated with the project. I've known about Chainlink for a very long time. I think the lowest, I don't own any Chainlink at the moment, but I want to say the lowest I ever bought Chainlink was during that beer virus crash. And I remember it was around $1.70, $1.75. Let's see if price action supports that remembrance of that dollar value. So during the beer virus crash, March of 20, were we down at $1.70, 75? Hell yeah, we were. Right down here, I remember buying some. So, see, this is what happens when you're patient. You have fear, and then you go from $1.70, and you go all the way up to $53. So, yeah, I did quite a bit of trading of Chainlink back in the day. So right now, a lot of excitement surrounding Chainlink, and rightfully so. It's had some really nice strong movements up from this major area of resistance between $5 and $9, and it's up at 19. So you can see all of these areas of price confluence now that we should turn into support. Red is for resistance, green is for support. Technically, I should wait to turn this green because we just broke above it here, and this is our confirming candlestick. We need to close above this 1550 on this preceding weekly candlestick prior to coding it green, but I think we're going to be okay there. So I'm going to jump the gun a little. But there's really a major area of resistance between $18 to $19. Now, obviously, when you're talking about $18 to $19 being a significant area of resistance, there's also something I hit on very routinely, a psychological level of resistance at 20 bucks. So really $18 to $20 is going to be, maybe this will be helpful. This is going to be should prove to be a big area of resistance, and we should be able to verify that by looking left, because in order to find price confluence, you look left, because you're now looking at historical price data. So this region, has it historically been resistance, or at least an area of price confluence? Yes, you can see it all wicking in here. So 18 to 20 bucks is going to be a major area. What after 20? 21, I don't want to start drawing too many areas of price confluence. Looks like 25. 25 is going to most certainly be an area of, where was that at? Right there. Looks like it's about 24. What? It's 25 bucks, but we'll make it 24.9. Yeah, right around there, 24.9. And then it also looks like there's another psychological level, which proved to be an area of resistance at about 29, 30 bucks. And then you've got another area. Again, the more wicks that you can get to touch a red line, area of price confluence, okay? The more wicks you can get to touch it or go through it, and the more candle bodies that don't go through it, but are resting on it, the more convicted you can be on that area of price confluence. So it looks like 29 and 34. So those are your major areas of resistance, right? We've got to break this big region between 18 to 20, and then we got like 25, 29, and 34. Now, in terms of technicals, for some stupid reason, I don't... Oh, okay. Is the MACD down here? I was going to say, why the hell don't I have the MACD on here? That would be stupid. MACD's looking good. RSI's looking good. Is there anything we can infer from a lower time frame that could bleed into the smaller time frames? Not really. The only thing I would infer on the 3-day, I don't like to see, although price went higher here, you see how one thing it's just a caution flag. It's not telling us anything definitive, but I don't like that price went higher here. You see where the RSI is? We're lower than here, and price was lower here. So this is negative divergence on the RSI. So just something on the 3-day time frame to be aware of. But yeah, no, things are looking good overall for Chainlink. That's what I see. All right, what other questions? I love the questions. Love the interaction. Oh, Jorge, you had a question on SHX. I don't know that you had a question, but you're saying it's going to the moon. Oh, we already looked at this, man. Yeah, so what the hell did I say about this? Clearly, I mean, you can go back and Jorge, if you remember when you asked questions about this, I don't know. I was pointing to massive consolidation, I'm sure, in here. Was there a bullish divergence on the RSI or something? Maybe like a 3-day chart? Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know what I was speaking to here, but clearly there's some bullish divergence on the RSI on the 3-day chart as price was consolidating in here. Now, I don't know what time frame I drew this on. This could have been a weekly, it could have been a 3-day, it could have been a daily. Looks like I could have been a 2-day too. Sometimes I use the 2-day. Probably was the daily, the way it looks. Either the daily or 3-day. But right now, what's important to note, and it looks like this was an area at some point that I pointed out that would be an area of interest for me that we have not come down to so far. So I was pointing out the descending resistance here. This could be a bull pennant that's in play. So you got a pole, and then you got this like pennant pattern. We could be beginning our breakout to the upside. The other way that you could view this chart is as price is continuing to develop here, we still have descending resistance. So you certainly could paint it more so. You could paint it like that, you know. The other thing you have to keep in mind, I don't know what market cap this thing is, but again, with more volatility, these price wicks you have to take with a grain of salt. It's exhibiting volatility. So you also could paint a story like that as well. So I'd want to see this 0.338 cent area hold. If it does get lost, this is my golden buy zone, which we can just kind of slide over here, okay? So if we lose this area here, okay, which is roughly at 0.33, chances are we're coming down to this zone in here. So something to keep an eye on. I like that this MACD is flattening out. I was also pointing out, I was definitely pointing out a falling wedge. I remember talking about that actually on the RSI. Didn't really pan out, quite honestly. Stochastic RSI looks good. But again, I love to see this MACD has flattened out. I want to see a cross up, right? And again, the more the bullish momentum can begin to pick up on some of these lower time frames, okay, like on the daily, that's going to bleed into your 3-day and weekly charts, which are more statistically significant in terms of what you can assess from that chart, especially as you accumulate more price data over time, right? Because as a chart starts to mature, like CBG, like a fine wine, as it begins to mature, it becomes more of an attractive investment opportunity. Now, but as the asset begins to mature and more price data accumulates, okay, and we have more historical data, now what happens is not only is it more statistically significant to evaluate that chart and you have more data, and us nerds love more data, but now you can look at things on a higher time frame and it lends itself to a more credible view. Now, some of those lower time frames, it really is meaningful that when they pick up, you want to go to the higher time frames, right? We really can't, I'll just give you an example. We can't go from the daily to the 4-day to the weekly to the monthly and start having some really definitive, conclusions on this, right? But we could go to Bitcoin and do that, right? Because Bitcoin, that we've been able to chart that thing since like 2012. So that is where I was going with those comments. All right, great comments today, guys, or great questions. By the way, if you missed it, and I'm getting back to your questions, if you did miss it, beyond the Caspa video, there was something I had tweeted out earlier today I was looking for feedback on. It looks like only one person responded so far. In this tweet, I said that I always welcome feedback with respect to how I can change my daily live stream to keep it fresh and in tune with my community. So if come out here, you can drop a comment if you want, but you can come directly to this tweet or this post and share your feedback with me. I'm very receptive to feedback. I really want to make this live stream as educational and as informative as possible. Now, this individual, and if you're on the live stream, thank you so much for the comment. He or she said, although it says Dennis, so I would think he, really appreciates the TA. Why, thank you guys, sir. I watch your streams not live due to different time zones. I would like to have a small 5 to 10 minute, I would like to have for you to have a small 5 to 10 minute video extract of the most important analysis. Can you create such videos or extract them from your live streams? Now, first off, that's a great idea. And it is something, if you see my comment, it is actually something I've thought about creating like a highlights video. I think it would be a little bit, my comment here is it would be too cumbersome to do every single live stream. So I think maybe putting a highlights, just a quick highlights video together for the week, and maybe I publish it on a Saturday or something like that. I can certainly do that. That way, if you miss the live streams Monday through Friday, whenever I live streamed, Saturday you can wake up, there's a 5 to 7 minute, 10 minute at most video out there that is just all the highlights, just all the things that you kind of missed from the week, right? So great idea. So keep them coming if you have any other ideas. Let's see what else we got. Ross, can you explain price discovery? Yes, price discovery just means that price is entering a territory that it has never been before. Now, price discovery could be to the up or down side. So if we use SHX as an example, If price breaks the all-time high of 0.55 cents, this red line right here, it's never been up here. It's commonly called a blue sky breakout. So this is price discovery to the upside, right? We don't really know where price is going. You can try to use some fib extensions, but we're not really sure. If price, just forget these wicks. If price broke this floor, okay, and it starts breaking down here, we're now entering price discovery to the downside. We don't know where it's going to stop because this is the lowest here price has ever been. So if we break this floor, es no bueno. I don't know what the hell that was, but it's not good, and that's price discovery to the downside. So hopefully that makes sense. Black Oil, did you just say that one of your strongest holdings was one of the shit charts that I just charted? It's one of my bigger holdings and just super frustrated because it ain't done a damn thing. Ricky, what's up, man? Good to see you in the live stream. I'm doing much better. I'm doing much better. There's still some challenges I'm trying to overcome, but all things considered, I'm doing much better than I was a couple months ago. I can tell you that. Look, if one of the things I'm thinking about this evening is strategizing my squats for tomorrow, I mean, that's already a win for me. And I'm actually thinking about going heavy tomorrow. Relatively heavy, up to like 345 on back squats. So I'm already thinking about that. So the fact that that's actually a reality right now, I mean, I'm doing pretty damn good. Thank you. It's only OTC. Interesting. Fair launch. Any thoughts on Solana Fibonacci levels as well as where it might hit up? Oh, Solana, I could see that thing going to $900, $1,000. It's kind of what I'm looking at. I see it being continuing to be an outperformer. And again, I'm not telling you this because I have some fundamental love for Solana. That's not why. But I think I answered your questions. We don't need to look at it. But two things. One, the chart is beautiful, and I've spoken to it plenty of times. And two, I listen to the narrative out there. There's a lot of people that are very much into Solana, and they also have a very strong growing community and a strong NFT platform. There's basically just a lot of exuberance about the project and different projects being built on it. Guys, why do you think I own Bonk? I was just looking at Bonk today. Why do you think I own Bonk? I'll tell you why I own Bonk, okay? Number one, it's a meme coin. And I've shared with you that, in my opinion, you should have some exposure to meme coins. Meme coins have historically run very hard. I don't see that changing this year, okay? I own Doge and Bonk, okay? Technically, I own like $5 of Pepe, but I bought that as a joke. But reason one is because it's a meme coin. Reason two is because it's in the Solana ecosystem, right? So I want to make money just like everyone else, and I'm not blind to the narratives, right? You need to pay attention to what the narratives are out there. Good to hear their long shot plays, Black Oil. Good to hear that. Good to hear. Bitcoin is going to blow, showcasing a recent pattern of low volatility ahead of trading hours. There are no trading hours in crypto, but if you mean prior to 9:30 traditional stock market trading hours, okay. Now, to your point though, I haven't assessed the volatility lately, but it certainly would feel to me based on recent price action. Yes, typically that's actually a good point. I should take a look at that later, but typically when the volatility is low for an extended period of time for Bitcoin, that means we're going to get a big break to the upside or downside relatively soon. Quant is one of your biggest holdings, Black Oil. Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, I've been in the camp for a while, just assessing this unbiasedly, that Quant, I probably have my targets up here. Nothing has changed in the chart for me to change my analysis. But it's crazy that, I have targets up here, 15 to 22. It does seem like such a long shot for this thing to go up that high. gut feel is, a 10 to 15x seems reasonable. But again, I know that when I had charted this out, and you can go to my quant video to take a look at this, whatever targets I spoke to, they were based on Fibonacci extensions. This was just a wave one. This is literally a wave one. We're still waiting for an impulsive wave three movement within a broader Elliott wave structure for quant. And those are typically your largest moves. So whatever I have drawn out there is based on that. I'd have to go back to the live stream to see how I came up with this box, though. I'm assuming this is like the 2.68 to 5.68 fib extension, so which is reasonable based on historical moves with altcoins. Well, Marve, what I would say to you is one observation I would have based on what you're saying, which I agree with, is, which I think is where you might be going with this. I just, the feeling I'm getting right now, okay, it's just a gut sense. It's also based on price action, but it's a gut sense having been here for quite a bit of time. Many years, actually, when I think about it. This time period, this low period of complacency, this, and I said this back here too, it's a very similar point in time. This period of consolidation in here and people calling for lower prices, it's very reminiscent of this time period here to me. It just really is. And I said the same thing back here. I said this time period just really reminds me back here. People are just so sure they know what price is going to do. Remember, I'm not going to name names, but there were very prominent people who at one point I may have called out who were saying that Bitcoin was just going to do this going into the halving. And I was like, that more than likely is not going to happen just because everybody is thinking that's going to happen. And lo and behold, we shot up from this mid to high $20,000 area all the way up to nearly $50,000, okay? I think the same thing is going to take place over these next handful of weeks. I think people feel like it's a near impossibility for Bitcoin to shoot up from here without filling some CME gap or coming down to the $32,000 to $35,000 area. And I think they're going to be proven wrong. I'm sure Gareth Soloway is out there with his pure fear porn videos to get you to click on it so you can watch his stupid ass videos and listen to his stupid ass commentary. I'm sorry, did I say that? But the reality is, and keep level playing, keeping everything 100 here. I've had good calls and I've had bad calls. He's had good calls and he's had bad calls. But it has been nothing, I feel like, when I've perused YouTube and it just comes up on my feed and I click on do not want to see this content anymore, I feel like for the past year, all it's been is fear porn coming from his way and others. And they've been dead fucking wrong. Again, it's a herd mentality. Think about it this way. Somebody said something to me that resonated with me. It's easier if there is a popular narrative out there regarding what direction the stock market is going to go or what direction Bitcoin or crypto is going to do. It's a safer bet. Okay, it's safer for your own personal image to go with that popular narrative. And if you're wrong, well, everyone else was wrong too. It's so much harder to be the contrarian and to not go out on a limb, but to form a view based on education and knowledge and weed out what everyone else is saying, or it's noise, you're not paying attention, and to come out here and say, well, this is what I see in the charts. Because then if you're wrong, the fear is you'll look like a fool because everyone else got it right. But if you're right, then what? So you really need to base your view. Logic and education has taught me, and just being a practical, sensical person, you need to formulate your views on what you believe will happen in this market based on unemotional education and logic. That is what you need to do. I got you, Marve. No, I think you're spot on there. Guys, you're welcome, Ross. Guys, I think that's going to do it If you haven't already, make sure you hit the thumbs up for some support. I would definitely appreciate it. Follow me on Crypto Bull God, one word, on Twitter. And make sure that you drop me a comment on this post, okay? I want to get feedback on things I can do to ensure that I'm being as engaging, informative, and educational as possible. That's the whole point of these streams, okay? Remember, I've said this, I'm not a content creator, I'm an educator, right? So I want to serve that role as best as possible. And one of the ways that I can ensure that I'm serving that role as efficiently and effectively as possible is soliciting feedback, right? So engage with me here. Give me some feedback on what I'm sharing with you guys. Give me some ideas. You know, I have a very smart community. And until next time, everybody, let's all spread awareness and let's carry the education forward. Take care, everybody. I'm going to make myself some of those chicken meatballs.